Hello, hello, and welcome back to Minotaur Hotel. We're still just kind of trucking along, you know. Things are happening. We got the internet up. Now we can watch porn. We can show Asterion porn. Probably not a great idea. Tonight's dinner isn't noteworthy. After all, Luke spent the day busy with other tasks, but everyone seems to be enjoying the night. The guests that worked on the internet project surround Asterion. They all seem to have grown quite familiar with each other over the whole ordeal. He smiles and laughs with their jokes, and even plays along most of the time, but more often than not, his gaze drifts away just as his ears droop. Midway through the meal, Asterion excuses himself and bids everyone a good night, and just before leaving, he looks at you and nods. After finishing your meal and enjoying some time with the guests, you get up to return to your quarters. However, as you walk towards the stairs, something catches your ears? Ears. Just further ahead, coming from outside the hotel, there's the plucking of strings. No melody ties these ideal notes together, and each one hangs in the air until it silences itself. There's a sharp-edged twinge preceding each note, as if whoever played it had forced the string and let it out in agony. You follow the sound and open the door. The Minotaur's ears flick to catch your footsteps, and the doors groan. And his stare remains aimed at the stars. His middle finger caresses the string, and then pulls it as it rolls on his skin. The Minotaur lets it hook on his nail and keeps pulling, forcing the string out as his his hand hardens and contracts into the claw. He plucks the lyre strings with the same sharpness and cringes as he lets it go. A grunt escapes his throat, and his tail thrashes. He lays a hand over the strings, caresses the dying hum, and lets his head hang low. Well, lets his head hang. Blah, blah. Good evening, my lord. Good evening, Asterion. Enjoying some fresh air? Yes, I needed to do some thinking and rehearsing. Is something the matter? The Minotaur hunches over his lyre, readjusting his hands upon it, trying to find a position that doesn't feel so awkward. His forearm twitches as he sucks air in until his back expands, and then lets it out through his mouth. I suppose it all became too much today. So many things has been happening all at once. Good things, but it's so much. It all bounces around in my head. All the people, all the tasks, the valley expedition too. So I came here to think. Oh, if you want, I can go back and let you have some privacy. Sorry to interrupt. No. If you have a minute to spare, I would like to bring a matter to your attention. Sure, go on. It's just... You didn't have to do this. What do you mean? You don't have to... You shouldn't help me. Going out into the valley yourself, dedicating your time and getting in harm's way for me. I will heal on my own, given enough time. Are you saying this because the expedition might interfere with the internet research? You don't have to worry about that. Now that we have split into teams, it's manageable. No, that's not it. He fingers the lyre strings, letting out an aimless hum of notes. I am afraid you'll be disappointed after this is all done. The Minotaur looks down and brings his legs together to support his weight of the lyre. No, the weight of the lyre. And then raises both his hands to scratch the claw at the back of his skull. The fur at the back of his neck stands up as he keeps scratching, digging in with such a ferocity you would not be surprised to see tufts of hair coming out. All the while, he mumbles and grunts under his breath, searching for words that will not come. I'm afraid I don't get what you mean.
Sometimes it just becomes too much for me. Even if I enjoy the company all the life, I can't stop myself from wishing everyone would stop.
Well, you were locked away for so long. It's no wonder it becomes overwhelming for you. After all those years in silence, dark room.
It was still like that before that happened. My stomach twists and turns, fire crawls up to the back of my throat, and this dull nausea makes me hunch over. It it feels like the whole world is about to fall apart at any moment. I just want it to stop.
He hugs his lyre, and then he tries talking about again. The words get stuck in his throat. He hunches over to spit them out, but all that comes is another groan. You didn't seem too well. You might be having an anxiety attack, or perhaps you're panicking. I know you have been through a lot, but I can't see my words doing much to reassure you. I mean, how much do words mean? But I'll say it anyway. I'll do everything in my power to make the hotel fulfill its mission. Nothing bad will happen to you. The Minotaur's back straightens, and his tail jerks along with his ears. He looks again to the stars, holding his instrument. Just a breeze passes by to send chills up your spine. Asterion snorts, shaking his head, and for a moment, it would seem as if a reinvigorated spirit is taking over. His voice, however, tells another story. When he speaks again, it comes out dulled, sluggish, with each syllable deliberately enunciated. Enunciated. Yes, I got. I.
This lyre, my lord, it does not look old, does it? Its strings will always give out such lively notes, so easy to weave into a delightful tune.
One by one, all of Asterion's anxious quirks, the hair standing up at the back of his neck, his hooves scraping against the ground, and the fingers flicking over the strings, and they all silent themselves. In its place is another being, which, albeit pacified, it seems despondent in a whole new cold, controlled way.
And yet, this lyre is older than any country back in the world of the living. I've played it ever since I was a child. Kid, whatever. When my father sent me to the labyrinth, I didn't get to take much with me. He thought it would be distracting, but a guard sneaked it in for me. It is so odd to me. For over a century, I've tried learning to use a cutlery, and as you could see, I never succeeded. But it wasn't so when I was a child. I could learn anything back then. How to carve wood, shoot arrows, play this old, lovely, friendly lyre.
Huh? Oh, I'm just kicking things over. Whoops.
It helps me think. It drowns out everything. Even just tuning it feels like it puts everything else in order. My old friend. Would you like to take a seat with me tonight? As turbulent as my mind may be, a little audience would be. I would enjoy your company.
Oh, that's cute. The concert! Oh my god. They've talked about this for a bit. I'm excited. When you wake up the next morning, you feel the burn before you even get up. Your legs haven't felt this sore in a while. You stretch your whole body, and that same soreness extends up to your back. But it's satisfying in its own way. Yesterday's expedition to the valley was a long hike. Quite the welcome change of pace from all the days inside the hotel. Plus, you got a lot done in one day. When you look at the clock, you find it's already quite a bit later than your usual waking time. But after everything, you have earned a late start to the day. Breakfast must be quick to account for it. However, Asterion makes scrambled eggs. You go behind his back to prepare toast. When he puts the plates on the table and motions to prepare something else, you surprise him by making a sandwich with the toast and eggs.
No, is that not a tad humble for the realm's lord?
Perhaps, but it's already late. What do you say we sit together and share a sandwich while we plan the day?
No, I'd rather not repeat the other day's disaster, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, wasn't cutlery the issue? And we are eating sandwiches today, after all. I'm sure Luke would throw a fit if he learned we were eating with forks and knives.
I suppose there's no arguing that. Before I sit down, is my clothing appropriate for the day?
Do I got new ones? Nope. It's fine then. Asterion inspects his clothes and general appearance while you eat.
Thank you for your selection. Today might be an important day after all.
If we get the bottle?
If we get the bottle, yes. I must remind you that I can still heal without it. Our priority should be getting the internet up and running, so as to not upset the guests. Based on how you describe it, and how much I hear about it in the lounge, it seems to be essential to you all now. It would be a tragedy if we were to lose guests over this issue.
It's annoying to live without it, sure, but I'd say we're doing a good job managing the hotel otherwise. We're facing a lot of challenges and doing our best. That speaks for itself. I doubt people would stop coming here over a lack of internet. Besides, we can still, I hope, get both done by tonight. You take a bite of your egg sandwich.
You sound optimistic, Master.
We'll see. I hope Luke and Kota can be cooperative today. You finish your breakfast in silence, together without a catastrophic cutlery situation. After cleaning the table of breadcrumbs, you and Asterion walk towards the staircase together before splitting up. You head to the reception while Asterion summons the others. Bit by bit, Luke places each piece on the tray. He looks at it from the right, then the left, before finally taking a few steps back to see how it looks from a distance. Under any other circumstances, he wouldn't care about presentation. The flavors should speak for themselves, he believes. But today, there's no margin for error. It has to look and taste right. A few decades ago, Luke had a friend to whom all this was second nature. His buddy was a chef whose pillow talk often revolved around exquisite dishes, artful plates, and the like. The Griffin's memories were a true enough guide to... It took only a few minor adjustments after his initial attempt to get it up to snuff. Luke walks out to the bar, a tray in hand, and places it behind the counter. He checks the clock on the wall, 5 to 8 in the morning. Although the lounge was empty, Luke preferred having the lights and music on while he did his cooking. I'm. It made the place feel alive, bustling with people. But it'll get in the way, he thinks, so he shuts them off while he sits in silence.
Good morning. Hello.
Kota walks over to the bar, inspects a stool, then another, before sitting on the first. Luke twiddles his thumbs behind the bar. He chastises himself for not having a rag on hand with which to clean the counter, if only so that he might have an excuse to avoid talking to Kota for a few more minutes. He looks to the side, searching, to no avail. Even if he knows he left it back at the kitchen, he cherishes the last few seconds before he must face the dragon's scrutiny once more. Meanwhile, Kota straightens his kimono and looks around the room, then to the clock, before laying his gaze on Luke.
Good to see you arrived early today.
The griffin searches the dragon's face for a tinge of sarcasm or malice. He finds himself wanting it, that edge, even if a more conscious truck of his mind wants to do the right thing.
You seriously taking a pot shot right now? No, I hope it didn't come across as such.
Instead of retorting, Luke pulls out the tray he was keeping behind the counter and sets it in front of the dragon.
It's a little early, but I thought you might be hungry.
Kota looks at his meal with surprise. An enormous pyramid of sushi rolls with a variety of sauces and condiments to the side. It was too much for breakfast, too much for any meal.
The salmon ones on the left came out terrific. I suggest you start with those.
Kota looks around the mountain of food for chopsticks, but all he sees is a cup to the side with forks and knives. The mug itself has "Live, Laugh, Love" printed on it in a gaudy typeface. Although Luke clawed it off and wrote "Traditional American Cooking" on it. Struggling against every fiber of his being, he grabs it, and following the griffin's suggestion, pinches one of the rolls to the left, and brings it to his mouth. It tastes nothing like the sushi he's used to. In fact, Kota is sure that he can feel some seasoning between the algae? Whoops. And the rice that has no business being in sushi. But however, it's not that bad.
I appreciate the gesture. If you like those, wait until you try my burgers. You missed out on some really good ones the other day. If only you hadn't, acted like a dick. I think my attitude was justified. You made a terrible introduction with your, a garish outfit and rude behavior. Alright, I'll give you that. It wasn't the best impression. I noticed some of the new guests didn't appreciate it either, and kept my ass out of reception the rest of the day. I learned my lesson. I don't want to fuck things up for everyone else. Asterion and Josh, most of all.
Kota reaches out for another roll.
Yes, indeed. I will admit, I do find your devotion to Mr. Asterion and Mr. Josh admirable. And this bar, it is not as mismanaged as I imagined. Perhaps I misjudged you.
To Kota's dismay, Luke grabs a piece on the top of the pile, dips it in ketchup, and swallows it. Oh my god.
I hope you don't mind. There's plenty there for the both of us.
Normally Kota would indeed mind, but today is a particular day already. Might as well go all the way. The dragon grabs another piece from the edge of the tray, the one farthest away from the ketchup bowl.
I think that's what matters, you know. The internet shit, and the expedition to that valley. All that stuff. We'll get it, we'll get in the way if we keep acting like assholes. That is true.
Both men keep eating in silence, as more of the food gives way to the silver bottom of the tray. Kota posture becomes less rigid, and Luke's expression loosens up. Both look at each other, smile and chat. Kota agrees to try out Luke's burgers next time, and the Griffin is enraptured by the dragon's stories about an exotic condiment known as soy sauce. Fuck. After their conversation exhausts itself, they return to silence. This time without a drop of tension, which had lingered between them just the day before. The two spend the following half hour without saying a word to each other, but not minding the company. They enjoy breakfast, get busy with basic chores, and greet other guests as the lounge fills up. The other guests whisper, what a far cry this is from the bickering of the previous day. Oh, okay. When Asterion walks into the lounge, he, like the other guests, cannot contain his surprise at seeing the two getting along.
Luke, Kota, your presence is required in the reception.
Sure, partner. Let's do this.
Indeed.
You lean on the reception desk. You think back to how empty this place used to be, and how busy it is now. Today is going to be another stressful day, but one can hope by the end it will all have been worth it. You don't have much time to reflect, however, since Asterion returns from the lounge much faster than you expected. To your surprise, Luke and Kota walk in behind him, still distant from each other, but not bickering. Well, it seems like everyone is here. So, today is our last chance to get the bottle. We're going to need to sacrifice the bundle we found yesterday, somewhere in the valley. So much progress. How much progress did we make, Asterion?
Well, there's 3 spots that would need to be surveyed, and 3 artifacts necessary. So far, we have 0 and 1 respectively.
Thankfully, the internet issue is solved, but we can still put people in the R&D team to work on the stuff, to work other stuff if you don't want to go to explore the valley, or I guess you two will want to stay separated.
Nah, don't worry about that. We will do what is necessary to help, yes.
Well, that's good news. Thanks, you two. So, that's the state of affairs. Oh.
Murde, I'm sorry.
What the fuck?
Sorry. I thought no one was going to be here for a while.
Ishmael awkwardly runs away towards the lounge, arms behind his back. So anyway, if it's alright with everyone, I will not venture out to the valley today, considering what I ran into yesterday.
Yes, it would be best for you to avoid, any unnecessary risks, Master.
As for the rest, let's split into teams again, shall we? Oh, so we don't have enough. Oh. We need 3 artifact, right? But today's our last day, right? Or... It's fine. This is all we can do, so... Alright, is everyone, everyone's role here clear? Very well. Let's get to it then. Asterion hums the melody, and a downward passage to the bedrock materializes next to the door, leading to the staircase. You bid Asterion farewell. You hand Luke and Kota the bundle and wish them good luck. You spend the rest of the day on your own, going through the usual routine. You spend some time managing reception, go to the lounge for lunch, and take an afternoon break in the master's quarters. Eventually, the time comes to check in on both your teams. Let's check in on the R&D team. The R&D team made some progress, but no project was completed. Let's check in on the exploration team. Your team found 3 raw material. Oh, and it looks like you found something else. So, how'd that go?
Actually, boss, not bad. Not bad at all. Yes, we are happy to inform that the task is done.
That's great. Did you guys run into any issues?
Well, not at first.
See, getting to the plateau was the easy part. All we did was walk south, and after a while we did see the plateau in the distance. You couldn't miss it. I was expecting the snake to be lying and setting us on a wild goose chase, but we had no problem getting there.
Atop the plateau, there were 2 statues, which, based on my knowledge of Greek deities, represented Zeus and Athena.
It was funny. We just stopped for a second, looked at each other, and decided to go with the big dude in the throne.
Well, I'm happy to see you're both getting along better.
Well, I would say cooperation became a necessity, because of what happened next.
Yeah, I think that fucking asshole sent us to an ambush, because when we started walking back, the legless screaming thing started crawling towards us.
Oh, yes. I think one of those jumped at me yesterday.
Yeah, it was spooky shit.
Well, thankfully, they didn't come at us all at once. Let's just say, not a good runner. I am, as I say, not a good runner. So, we had to kick some of those out of the way.
I'll be honest, I'm impressed with Dragonborn here. Wouldn't mind going a round or 2 with him.
I hope you mean a fight.
Whatever you want to call it.
We're back in one piece, which is what's important.
Yeah, now, go show that snake who's boss, will ya?
The valley's shadow crawled up to the hotel's entrance. I think I'll just end the part here. So I'll see you around, everyone.